I never thought a volunteer gig could break my trust in people. Seriously, I've been through bad bosses, shady landlords, even a friend who forgot to pay me back for a $1,200 loan. But somehow, this one cut deeper. I've been volunteering with the Lighthouse program in Denver for almost 6 years. It's not fancy. We're not some glossy charity with billboards and TV ads. It's just a small nonprofit in an old brick building that smells faintly of coffee and hand sanitizer, with squeaky floors and posters the kids have drawn taped to the walls. We do one thing well. We give teens without stable homes a safe place to land. After-school tutoring, mentorship programs, weekend activities. I design flyers, set up events, wrangle vendors, whatever they need. This year's big project was the Spring Light Gala. Think less celebrity red carpet and more local business owners in their nice suits sipping wine in the community center gym that we dressed up with fairy lights. But the stakes were huge. Our goal was $75,000. That amount meant paying rent for another year, keeping the small staff paid, buying supplies, and making sure none of our programs had to shut down. I'd been working on it for months, picking the theme, light the way, designing the invitations, building a list of local businesses to hit up for sponsorship. I had spreadsheets color-coded by priority, mock-ups for every piece of signage, even a playlist ready for the night. And then, in January, Sabrina Lowe walked in. If there's one thing about Sabrina, it's that she knew how to make an entrance. She came in on a Thursday afternoon when we were stuffing envelopes. Tall, tan, wearing this perfect cream-colored coat that didn't have a single dog hair or coffee stain on it, which in Denver winter is a miracle. She had that energy where the whole room tilts toward her without her having to say much. "Hi, I'm Sabrina," she said, smiling like she'd just walked into a party where everyone had been waiting for her. Our director, Michael Travers, practically tripped over himself introducing her. She just moved from Chicago, he told us. She's done corporate fundraising, big events. She's going to be a huge help with the gala. I wasn't threatened. More help meant less stress for me. And honestly, I liked her right away. She had this way of laughing at my dumb jokes without it feeling fake. She brought muffins to the next meeting. Homemade, she said, though they were way too perfect to have come out of a home oven. The first week she shadowed me, she kept saying, "I don't know how you've been doing all this alone." I told her I wasn't alone. We had a great team, even if most people only came in once or twice a week. She just nodded like she knew better. At first, her help actually was helpful. She had energy, ideas, and no problem walking up to strangers to pitch them on attending the gala. She asked a lot of questions. How I'd picked the color palette, how I handled sponsor follow-ups, even how I structured my email campaigns. She'd take notes like she was in a college lecture. One afternoon, she asked if she could take my latest slide deck just to show Michael and Greg Fallon, Greg being our main donor this year. I didn't think twice. If she was helping me talk up the event to Greg, that was a win. That's the thing about trust. It's easy to give when you think you're both rowing in the same direction. The first time I felt that tiny itch of doubt was during a Friday planning meeting. Michael was updating everyone on progress, and he said, "Thanks to Sabrina's connections, we've got a potential wine sponsor lined up for the gala." Everyone clapped. I clapped. But the whole time in the back of my mind, I was thinking, wait a second. I sent the sponsorship proposal to that winery 2 weeks ago. I told myself maybe she just followed up and sealed the deal. That's how teamwork works, right? Still, I noticed the way she smiled when people congratulated her. It wasn't a "we did it" smile. It was a "look at me" smile. About a week later, my friend Janelle Porter pulled me aside after a volunteer shift. She's one of those quiet observers, never dramatic, never gossiping, but when she speaks, you listen. "Darren," she said, "I don't want to make waves, but I overheard Sabrina talking to Greg at the donor lunch today. She was telling him about the gala's branding work, like it was hers. The color scheme, the invitations, the whole Light the Way slogan, she took credit." I laughed it off. "She probably just meant she's part of the team." Janelle shook her head. "She didn't say we. She said I." I shrugged it off back then, told myself it didn't matter who got the praise, as long as the gala succeeded. But looking back now, that was the first crack. And I didn't realize it yet, but that crack was about to split wide open. The first few weeks with Sabrina were harmless enough. She'd charm donors at networking nights, offer to help with catering calls, and somehow always managed to drop Michael's name like they were old friends. But little by little, I started noticing the shift. One Monday morning, I went to open the event planning folder on our shared drive, the one where all my design files, vendor contracts, and sponsorship tracking sheets lived, and got an error. You not have permission to edit this file. I thought it was a glitch, so I asked Michael about it. Oh, he said, Sabrina suggested we lock the folder so only one person updates it. Fewer version issues. I didn't like it, but it sounded reasonable, until I found out that one person was her. The next gala flyer I saw posted on our Facebook page had a new design. My color scheme was there, my slogan was there, but the layout was slightly different, and my name was gone from the file credits. When I asked about it, Sabrina said, "Oh, I just made a few quick tweaks before posting. Didn't think it mattered." Maybe that's true once, but over the next few weeks, my designs were tweaked right out of recognition or replaced entirely, always by her. The biggest red flag came at a small donor dinner 2 months before the gala. I was there to help set up and run the slideshow of our programs. Sabrina was there to schmooze. At one point, I passed by her table and overheard her talking to Greg Fallon, our top sponsor. She said, "The branding came to me one night out of nowhere. I just knew the Light the Way theme would be perfect for the lighthouse." I froze mid-step. She wasn't just taking credit for the slogan, she was rewriting the whole origin story. That night, Janelle texted me, "You heard it too, didn't you?" She's been telling people she's the mastermind. I didn't even bother denying it this time. Yeah, I heard. It wasn't just the credit. Sabrina started meeting with sponsors without telling me, then presenting their contributions like they were surprises she'd landed single-handedly. Michael started going to her for updates instead of me. I'd find out about decisions, like switching the caterer or adding a VIP cocktail hour, after they were already made. One afternoon, I walked into the conference room for what I thought was a weekly team meeting, only to find Sabrina mid-pitch to a group of local business owners, using my original sponsorship packet with her name swapped in. She didn't flinch when she saw me, just smiled and said, "Darren here helps with the graphics." Helps with the graphics. I'd built that entire packet from scratch. By mid-March, the gala was less than 2 months away, and I was barely involved in the parts I'd been leading since day one. Every time I thought about pushing back, I hesitated. The kids needed that $75,000. The lighthouse couldn't afford internal drama, but deep down, I knew I was letting her write me out of my own work. And worse, I had a feeling she was setting up something big, something that would make her the face of the whole event and erase me completely. The night of the Spring Light Gala should have been one of the proudest nights of my life. Months of planning, endless nights editing flyers, and juggling vendor emails. Even with Sabrina's creeping takeover, I told myself I'd still get to watch it all come together. The venue, an old restored theater, looked incredible. The stage glowed under string lights, the tables shimmered with gold centerpieces, and the air smelled like roasted garlic and expensive wine. People were dressed up, laughing, clinking glasses. It felt like we'd pulled off something special. But then I saw the program. At every seat was a glossy booklet with the gala schedule and sponsor list. I flipped to the organizers page. Lead organizer, Sabrina Lowe. Event design and branding, sponsorship coordination, Sabrina Lowe. And under additional support, Darren Cole, graphic assistance. Like I just photoshopped a few signs and called it a day. I didn't have much time to process it before Greg Fallon, our main donor, took the stage. He thanked everyone for coming, made a few jokes, then said, "And now, I want to bring up the woman who made tonight possible, Sabrina Lowe." The crowd clapped like she'd cured cancer. Sabrina floated onto the stage in a silver dress, beaming. She launched into a heartfelt speech about her vision for the gala, the countless hours she'd spent designing the event, how she'd personally secured major sponsors. Every "I" hit me like a punch. And then came the kicker. Greg said, in recognition of her incredible work, I'm making a personal $10,000 donation to Sabrina as a thank you for her leadership. The crowd roared. Sabrina put her hand over her mouth in fake shock, then hugged him. I sat there frozen, not because of the money. I was a volunteer. I never expected a paycheck. But that money could have gone straight into the lighthouse's budget, and everyone in that room now believed she was the sole reason the event existed. From across the table, Janelle caught my eye. Her expression said everything. We both know that's your work. But what could I do? Storm the stage? Start listing my contributions like a bitter contestant on a reality show? No, that would have made me look small and unprofessional. So I clapped, like everyone else. I worked the rest of the event like nothing was wrong, checking on vendors, helping guests find their seats, fixing a microphone issue backstage. But the whole time, that program page burned in my mind. Every time I saw Sabrina, she was surrounded by donors, laughing and soaking in praise. She didn't look my way once. By the end of the night, we'd raised over $80,000. A record for the Lighthouse. Everyone was ecstatic. Everyone except me. Because while the nonprofit had its money, I'd just been erased from my own work in front of the very people who mattered most. And I knew if I didn't do something, this would become the official story. The Monday after the gala, everyone at the Lighthouse was still buzzing. Emails flying around about the record-breaking total. Social media posts tagging Sabrina with captions like, "Our fearless leader." It was like the whole city had decided she was the face of the event. I couldn't take it anymore. I'd told myself during the gala to stay quiet for the sake of the cause. But now I realized staying quiet meant letting her rewrite history and keeping that $10,000 thank you gift while the nonprofit scraped by. I went home that night and pulled out my laptop. Over the months, I'd kept everything. Every file, every mock-up, every draft email, all with timestamps. The original Light the Way slogan doc, dated months before Sabrina arrived. The sponsorship tracker I built before she'd even joined. Emails showing me negotiating with the winery she'd claimed to have brought in. The design files with my name in the metadata, the ones she had tweaked. By the time I was done, I had a folder so airtight you could have used it as evidence in court. The next day, I asked Michael for a private meeting. He looked confused, but agreed. I laid the folder on his desk and said, "Before this becomes the permanent story, I need you to see the actual one." He went through each file, his face tightening as he scrolled. "Darren, why didn't you say anything sooner?" Because I didn't want to blow up the gala. But she's taken credit for everything, and now she's walking away with money that should have gone to the Lighthouse. Michael called Sabrina in later that afternoon. I wasn't in the room, but I heard enough through the thin office walls to know it wasn't friendly. By the end of the week, Sabrina was no longer volunteering with the Lighthouse. The $10,000 went back into the program budget, officially listed as a donation in her name, though we all knew the truth. Greg Fallon reached out to me directly a few days later. "Michael showed me your work. I had no idea. You should have been up there with us that night." I told him it was fine. And in some ways, it was. The kids got their funding, and my name wasn't erased anymore. I'd love to say I walked away feeling nothing but proud. But the truth? It still stung. Sabrina was gone, sure, but she'd spent months enjoying praise that wasn't hers, and I couldn't get that time back. The difference now is I know where my line is. I'll bend for the sake of a cause. I'll work late, skip recognition, share credit, but I will never again let someone take everything I built and stamp their name on it. Sometimes protecting what matters means protecting yourself too. And yes, I'm glad I went through with it, even if it meant losing the peace I thought I had. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. If you want to share your stories, please comment below. Additionally, what is your opinion on the poster's decision?